As old age approaches, many of us have envisioned the ideal scenario of living close to our children, sharing peaceful days together, and deepening family bonds. This image seems so warm, cozy afternoons spent with grandchildren, moments of reunion filled with love. But is this picture as perfect as we imagine? Let's think for a moment. Does living near our children truly bring the happiness we expect? Or is it just a romanticized view of family life? In fact, I have read and heard countless stories from many people on various forums sharing the difficulties and challenges they faced when choosing to live too close to their children. From minor daily conflicts to feeling neglected in their own homes. All of these experiences indicate that living close to our children in old age isn't always the ideal choice. In this video, we will explore together the reasons why the idea of living near children can lead to unpredictable consequences, and why maintaining a certain distance can be a smarter decision for the happiness of the entire family. Firstly, you may become a burden. One of the biggest concerns for many parents as they age is the fear of becoming a burden to their children. It is an undeniable truth, as we grow older, our bodies weaken, and the need for support from loved ones increases. Initially, our children may happily embrace the idea of living close to their parents. But over time, that support can turn into an invisible burden that no one wants to address. Many stories have been shared by parents with good intentions who decided to move closer to their children for easier mutual care, only to find themselves feeling like a nuisance or even intruding on their children's lives. Imagine this: your children might be in the busiest phase of their lives, at the peak of their careers, juggling work while caring for their own small families. When parents are too close, whether intentionally or not, it can add pressure on them to take on additional caregiving roles, even if they aren't truly ready for it. A vivid story from Anna has led many to reflect. A woman shared that she decided to move closer to her daughter to be part of the family life and help care for her grandchildren. Initially, everything seemed fine. But gradually, she realized that she had inadvertently demanded too much attention. And in the end, she felt like a burden. Although her daughter never voiced it, her feelings were hurt. She felt trapped between her love for her grandchildren and the guilt of asking for too much help. A child's love for their parents never changes. But geographic closeness can inadvertently lead to unwanted dependence. This not only creates emotional stress, but can also complicate family relationships due to increasing expectations and responsibilities. The truth is, sometimes maintaining a certain distance is the best way to preserve happiness and independence for both sides. Secondly, losing autonomy and personal identity. Maintaining independence is not only essential for yourself, but also helps sustain a healthy balance in family relationships. The decision to move closer to your children might stem from kindness and a desire to help. But sometimes it can lead to an unintended loss of autonomy and personal identity that you did not foresee. Excessive closeness can create unwanted dependency. And gradually you may find yourself relying on your children more than is actually necessary. Imagine this: you live right next door to your children, and everything becomes so easy that asking for their help becomes a habit. Small tasks like grocery shopping, fixing things, or even deciding personal matters can all become invisible burdens that you unwittingly place on your children. This not only diminishes your personal freedom, but also undermines your self-confidence, altering how you live and manage your own life. A real-life example from Mr. Richard's story illustrates this well. He decided to move closer to his son for easier care and mutual support. Initially, he believed this would provide safety and tighter family connections. However, over time, he began to rely on his children for everything, from daily shopping to doctor visits. Gradually, he lost the ability to make decisions and perform tasks that he used to handle independently. "I didn't realize that being too close had eroded my confidence," Mr. Richard admitted. "My life seemed to revolve around my children. And I gradually lost myself. Independence is not just a physical issue, it also relates to mental well-being. When you live a little farther away from your children, you are compelled to maintain your vitality, confidence, and self-sufficiency to manage your personal life. This not only brings long-term health benefits, but also helps you preserve your identity and freedom of thought. Keeping a reasonable geographical distance allows you to avoid unwanted dependence and creates the necessary balance between generations, ensuring that both you and your children have the space to grow independently while still staying connected when needed. Third, stress in family relationships. Family relationships are always precious. But sometimes physical closeness can complicate this bond. As we age, the desire to connect more with our children is completely natural. But living too close can sometimes create unwanted conflicts. This happens when small daily issues become exacerbated by excessive interaction. Living next to family does not always guarantee harmony. In fact, some older parents realize that their relationship with their adult children becomes tenser when they live too close. Daily communication, rather than fostering connection, can lead to interference in each other's private lives. Take the example of Margaret, a mother who thought that living next door to her son would allow them to spend more time together. However, the reality was far from her expectations. Because she was too close, she easily interfered in every small decision her son made. From household chores to child-rearing methods. I just wanted to help. But in the end, I felt like I was controlling too much, Margaret shared. The tension escalated as her son began to feel invaded and lacked personal space. Unsolicited advice and her constant presence created a rift in their mother-son relationship. You might think you're just trying to support. But for your children, it can be seen as interference. Frequent closeness makes everything less natural and can easily lead to unnecessary conflicts. Being a little further apart can create a healthy space that allows both you and your children to maintain privacy and personal growth. With distance, each meeting becomes more meaningful, and interactions become more intentional, leading to more positive bonding. A reasonable distance between family members not only provides breathing space but also helps everyone maintain balance in the relationship. This helps prevent misunderstandings, avoid excessive control, and ultimately strengthens the bond by fostering mutual respect. Fourth, limiting social life and feelings of isolation. You might be surprised to learn that moving to live close to your children can sometimes lead to feelings of loneliness rather than joy. While the ideal of living closely with family often creates hopes for gatherings and closer connections, the reality can be quite the opposite. When you start relying on your children for social relationships, you may unintentionally blur the connections with your friends and community. Consider the story of Emma, a mother who decided to move closer to her daughter and granddaughter in hopes of bonding more. Initially, she thought this would allow her to be part of their family life, enjoy outings, and participate in social activities together. However, after a short time, Emma felt abandoned. My daughter's life seems to always be busy. I thought I would be a part of every moment with them. But the reality is the opposite. I have given up my friends and community, she shared. The truth is that while Emma looked forward to moments spent with her grandchildren, their lives unfolded at a pace she couldn't keep up with. They had their own plans, busy work, and social relationships. As a result, she not only felt alone but also faced an increasing sense of isolation. Building and maintaining relationships outside of the family is incredibly important, especially when you are living independently. Engaging in social activities, from joining clubs and groups to connecting with new people, not only helps you feel happier but also enhances your sense of belonging to the outside world. This adds vitality to your life that you cannot find if you solely depend on your children. Fifth, feelings of guilt and pressure of responsibility. Living close to your children, while it may seem like a great choice, can sometimes lead to unwanted feelings of guilt for both parents and children. This feeling can arise from mutual dependence, where one side feels uncomfortable asking for help, while the other feels pressured because they cannot find time to meet those requests. Consider the story of Mrs. Linda, a mother who decided to move closer to her daughter, hoping for mutual support in daily life. However, after a while, she realized that feelings of guilt had become an integral part of her life. Every time I need my children's help, I feel like I'm bothering them. But at the same time, I feel resentful because I can't get the support I want. Their lives are busier than I imagined, she shared. The conflict between love and obligation can become very stressful. Mrs. Linda stated, "I feel like I am a burden to my daughter. This not only worries me but also affects their mood. I want them to focus on their careers and families, as visits are no longer frequent and joyful as before." Both sides feel the pressure to meet unspoken expectations. This leads to a state of tension, where conversations become more difficult, and feelings gradually begin to fracture. However, Mrs. Linda found a solution to this problem. She decided to create a personal space where she could focus on her hobbies and connect with friends. In this way, she not only alleviated the guilt she felt when needing support from her daughter, but also allowed her daughter time to relax and enjoy her own life. "When I have a fulfilling life outside the family, I feel more confident asking for help," she said. When you maintain a healthy distance from your children, relationships become less stressful and pressured. Instead of feeling guilty or fatigued, both parents and children can appreciate their time together, creating beautiful memories without the burden of responsibility weighing them down. In life, sometimes allowing each person their own space can enrich and strengthen the relationship. Sixth, the risk of missing out on new experiences. When deciding to move close to your children, you may inadvertently place yourself in a trap where comfort and familiarity overshadow the exciting experiences that life can offer. While being close to family often brings a sense of security, it can also cause you to miss opportunities to explore the world around you. Consider the story of Mr. Tom, a man who chose to live independently after retirement rather than settle close to his children. "At first, my daughter was quite disappointed when I didn't move close to them," he shared. "But moving to a new city opened up so many opportunities one never thought about." Mr. Tom explored places he had never been, joined local sports and arts clubs, and even learned how to make pottery. "I met new friends who share similar interests and created wonderful memories together," he said. "Now, when my children visit, I feel like I'm showing them a vibrant new life, not just being part of their daily routine." When living close to your children, you can easily fall into the habit of sticking to familiar activities, from family gatherings to grocery shopping together. While this may seem safe, it does not encourage you to seek new and exciting experiences. You may find yourself gradually losing the sense of adventure and desire to explore. However, choosing a different path for your retirement years can bring countless memorable experiences. It might involve traveling to places you've always dreamed of, participating in retirement communities with diverse activities, or simply finding a new hobby to enrich your life. Just one small decision can completely change your life. Mr. Tom said, "I'm not only creating new memories, but I also feel freer than ever." Thus, exploring life independently not only helps you maintain independence, but also ignites your passion and desire to fully embrace each moment. Dare to choose your own path and continue writing your unique story. A story that belongs not just to you, but also to those around you. Seventh, unwanted responsibility. When you decide to live near your children, one often overlooked aspect is whether they are truly ready to take on the responsibility of supporting you. Many young adults struggle with the pressure that caregiving for parents can bring. This not only weighs heavily on their shoulders, but can also strain family relationships. For instance, Anna, a mother who has experienced a similar situation, shared on an online forum that her mother moved in nearby after her father passed away. At first, I thought this would be a great opportunity to spend more time with my mom, she recalled. But gradually, I realized that I wasn't ready for these responsibilities. I had to balance work, raising my children, and now caring for my mom too. Anna felt overwhelmed by the burden of juggling multiple roles at once. It not only stressed my marriage, but made me feel like I was in an endless battle, she said. Many adult children also grapple with their own life challenges, and forcing them into caregiving roles can make the situation even more difficult. When living apart, children have the necessary space to shape themselves and prepare for such situations. They can grow in their own ways without the pressure of proximity. This allows them to become caregivers more naturally rather than feeling bound from the outset. Imagine living away from your children, where every call and visit becomes a cherished moment. They can come to you voluntarily, with genuine affection, without feeling burdened. We must understand that preparing children to take on caregiving responsibilities requires not only time, but also readiness from both sides. Living apart can foster more open conversations about caregiving, where children feel comfortable expressing their uncertainties. This way, families can build stronger relationships where love and support are exchanged without the pressure of overwhelming responsibility. 8. You deserve to focus on yourself. As you age, it's easy to fall into the mindset that living near your children is the only way to find meaning in life. But the question to ask is, what about you? After decades of working, raising a family, and sacrificing for others, now is the time to return to your own desires and passions. This is your stage. Let's hear Grace's story. A woman who found joy and meaning in life after retirement. She spent her entire life caring for her husband, children, and even elderly parents. I used to think moving close to my children would be the next step, Grace recalled. But then I realized I had spent too much time becoming what others needed. Grace decided to move to a beautiful coastal town where she could live her life on her own terms. For the first time in decades, I did everything for myself, she said. Grace's children often visit, but they see not just a mother, but a happy and fulfilled woman. That is the wonderful gift she never expected to give them in her retirement years. Retirement should be an opportunity for you to rediscover yourself, revive forgotten passions, and enjoy the freedom this stage brings. Whether you choose to travel, start a new hobby, or simply seek peaceful moments with a cup of tea in the garden, focusing on your personal growth and happiness benefits not only you, but also enhances your relationship with your children. When you take care of yourself, you are also setting a positive example for your children. They will see a parent who is not just a caregiver, but also someone who lives fully and happily. And that is the greatest gift you can give them. 9th, your children's parenting style can be disappointing. When deciding to live close to your children, one thing that is often overlooked is the difference in parenting styles between generations. This can lead to disagreements and disappointment instead of creating the bonding opportunities one might expect. Differences in parenting methods. From how much TV children are allowed to watch to how anger is managed, can become sources of underlying conflict. Listen to Linda's story, a mother who shared her experience on an online forum. She said, "I never imagined that living near my daughter would make it so hard for me to accept her parenting style. I want to help, but we often disagree about trivial things like screen time or how to handle my grandchild's tantrums." Linda is not the only one to go through this situation. Another mother, Sarah, had similar experiences. "I thought moving closer to my daughter would bring us closer together. But in reality, we clashed a lot over how she raises her children," she said. I grew up in a different time. And it's hard to stay quiet when I see things I don't agree with. When you live close to your children, differences in parenting can become more apparent than ever. You may notice every small decision in how your children manage their family, from food choices to conflict resolution. Meanwhile, living further away allows you the space to accept differences and let your children make decisions without feeling judged. Distance not only helps to minimize stress, but also maintains mutual respect. When you're not witnessing your children's decisions every day, you can preserve the respect and love in your relationship. You no longer feel the need to offer unsolicited advice, which can make the relationship more positive. Imagine if you lived far from your children, where each meeting becomes an opportunity to share memorable moments without the burden of parenting differences. This not only helps you maintain your role as a parent, but also creates a safe space for your children to express themselves freely without fear of criticism. Therefore, before deciding to live close to your children, consider how this might affect your relationship. Sometimes, distance can be the key factor in helping you and your children maintain a better relationship, where love is expressed without being constrained by pressure or disagreement. 10th, overfamiliarity can blur boundaries. When living close to your children, what many see as a beautiful bond can turn into a significant challenge in maintaining healthy boundaries. Good intentions can lead to unexpected expectations, making personal space a luxury. The feeling of needing to be overly involved in your children's daily lives can put pressure not only on them, but also on you. Consider Anna's story. A mother who felt a significant change when her mother moved nearby. I love my mother very much. But after she moved in, I felt like I had no personal space. Anna shared. She often drops by unannounced. And while she just wants to chat, I feel like everything is being monitored. Instead of having private moments, I feel like I'm being stalked. The stress that Anna experienced is not uncommon. When you live too close, maintaining independence and mutual respect becomes harder than ever. Instead of finding joy in visits, they can turn into a pressure cooker, making you feel like you're serving unspoken expectations. We might imagine that keeping a distance from our children would benefit both sides. That's why planned meetings become particularly special. When there's space between you and your children, natural boundaries are established, allowing them to maintain their family life while you enjoy your space to do what you love. Think about creating regular meetups, moments you and your children can share together without the pressure of daily expectations. Shared meals, walks, or fun activities will become cherished memories rather than just forced encounters. Each meeting will turn into a special occasion, where affection and connection are renewed without being stifled by expectations. Everyone's life has its unique nuances, and living too close to your children can blur these nuances. By creating distance, you not only keep your relationships healthy but also foster an environment for both sides to grow. A relationship built on respect and autonomy will bring happiness not only to you but also to your children. 11th, the burden of being a grandparent. Becoming a grandparent is one of life's most wonderful moments, bringing us joy and a deep connection with the next generation. However, living close to our grandchildren can sometimes turn into a significant challenge, creating unexpected pressures. Many people find that the unspoken expectations of living nearby their children and grandchildren imply that they will be heavily involved in their care. Consider the story of Mr. David. He moved close to his daughter, hoping to spend more time with his grandchildren. I love the kids, but now I feel like I've signed up for a full-time job, he shares. Every day, I have to pick them up from school, help them with homework, and sometimes even babysit in emergencies. It's really exhausting. Although initially the feeling of helping brings joy, as the responsibilities become overwhelming, a sense of fatigue begins to take over. David realizes that always being there to meet his grandchildren's every need not only makes him feel like a guardian, but also diminishes the precious moments of relaxation he once enjoyed in retirement. This expectation not only places pressure on David but also creates a distance between him and his daughter. While she is eager for help from her father, it prevents him from focusing on what he truly wants to do, like engaging in personal hobbies or enjoying time with friends. It is essential to understand that becoming a grandparent does not mean giving up your own life. Healthy boundaries must be established to ensure that you still have space for yourself. David decided to start saying no more often. He began to create a reasonable schedule for helping out, which included days he reserved just for himself. "I told my daughter that I'm more than willing to help, but I also need time to recharge," he explains. "Sometimes I need a day just to read or take a walk alone." Every grandparent has the right to choose how they engage in their grandchildren's lives. Instead of feeling pressured to always be present, find ways to enjoy this relationship without feeling drained. The moments you carve out for yourself are not only good for you, but also provide you with more energy to be a better grandparent to your grandchildren. Establishing clear expectations will help both you and your children feel more comfortable in this relationship, creating a supportive and loving environment where both parties are respected. In summary, what you need to do right now is seek balance in family relationships. Living away from your children not only helps you set necessary boundaries, but also creates opportunities for you to be a devoted grandparent in your own way. This allows you to maintain your independence without getting caught up in a full-time caregiving role. Rather than feeling like a burden or an obligation, you can savor precious moments with your grandchildren, nurturing joyful memories without the stress. Clearly, it is not always easy to admit, but living closely with your children in old age may not be the perfect picture you once envisioned. In reality, it can lead to feelings of lost freedom, increased tension in relationships, and even a sense of isolation. The best life can unfold in a place where you maintain distance, both physically and mentally, while still nurturing genuine connections. This does not mean you have to abandon family or become emotionally distant. On the contrary, it is about creating the necessary space for yourself and your children to live full and independent lives. These precious years should be a time for you to focus on self-improvement, maintaining personal identity, and developing in ways that transcend family relationships. Trust that your family will appreciate you more when they see you shine and live a meaningful life. The freedom of both physical and mental space will strengthen and enhance your relationships while bringing happiness to everyone in your life. We would love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, so we can continue connecting with wonderful people like you. Thank you for taking the time to watch.